You're listening to the Quint podcast.
Australia have managed to avoid a clean sweep in the T20 series, beating India by 12 runs in the final fixture this Tuesday in Sydney. My guest Ayaz Memon is with us. Ayaz, as always, I'll start by asking you your thoughts on the match.
Well, I think, look, one must accept that this was a day in which Australia played really well. I think a little above what they had performed in the earlier two matches. They were without Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazlewood, which is a big enough setback. But I thought they stuck to their task well. The difference was that they got a lot of contributions from the top order, Maxwell, Wade, even Smith making some runs, while it became almost like a one-man show. It was either Kohli or bust. And having said that, to lose by 12 runs showed how tight the match was. But India, after 10 successive wins in T20Is, have suffered a defeat. So, the series has been won. They would have preferred to go into the Test series with a victory behind them. But hey, this is how the cookie crumbles.
I'm Menra Dorji.
And I'm Ayaz Memon.
And you're listening to the Aussie Challenge Podcast on the Quint, powered by Farm Easy and Medibuddy.
Okay, I'll quickly take you through the scores. India elected to bowl first and Australia had their skipper Aaron Finch return for the game. He, however, got out on a duck in the second over itself, but Matthew Wade continued his solid run, adding 65 runs with Steve Smith and then 90 with Glenn Maxwell before eventually getting out on 80. Maxwell made 54 of 36 as Australia posted 186 for 5. Sundar was the pick of the bowlers for Virat with his 2 for 34 as Natarajan and Thakur picked a wicket each. Now, India lost KL Rahul on the second ball of the chase, but Shikhar Dhawan and Virat then added 74 for the second wicket. Dhawan fell in the ninth over with the score 74 for 2. Captain Virat made 85 and added 44 with Hardik Pandya before both fell on the first balls of the 18th and the 19th overs. 27 were needed of the last 6 balls and Thakur and Sundar hit some big shots, but India did eventually fall short by 12 runs. Ayaz, your top performer of the series?
Well, I think, it would be a toss-up between Kohli and Pandya. But I would say just for the sheer number of runs, consistency of scoring, I would say Kohli was the standout performer here. But that's in the batting. I thought in the bowling, it must be T. Natarajan. And if you ask me from India's point of view, who was their player of the series, I would say T. Natarajan. He's in his debut series. Kohli, we all know what kind of a batsman he is. He's got a great body of work already. For somebody who's new to international cricket to come and make this impact, and I'll stretch the argument not just to the T20 series, but the entire white ball contest that we've had in the ODIs and the T20s. I think Natarajan and Pandya have been the standout performers. And then, of course, Kohli in the T20 series.
Okay, Virat Kohli, I know we don't talk about him enough, but yet another amazing knock from him, 85 of 61. Really making sure we're going to miss him once he returns home after the couple of tests he plays.
Yes, I mean, look, one can't be skeptical about Virat Kohli at this stage of his career because he's done so much already. The only challenge for him is to keep meeting that benchmark which he himself has set or exceeding it. In T20, he's often thought as not being a power hitter and therefore perhaps not being able to maintain that strike rate, but which is actually not true. And I think we saw shades of the bromance between him and A.B. de Villiers, which we've seen so often in the Indian Premier League. The kind of strokes that he played in this innings showed that he pulled a leaf or many leaves out of de Villiers' playbook, and that going ahead could actually make him a far more dangerous batsman because he's innovating, inventing a lot.
Matthew Wade, quite an under-the-radar player, 2 half centuries in his 3 matches in the T20Is, and he also captained the team in the last game when Finch wasn't there. Now, Tim Paine, of course, captains and, of course, also keeps in tests, but he's proved himself to be a good backup.
Very good backup. I thought Matthew Wade was it gave the Australian innings the impetus, and of course he got support from some of the other batsmen like Maxwell, etc., which took the score to 186. I mean, India did overhaul 194 in the previous match, but this is always a tough task. And in the previous match, when you look back, there were sizable contributions from a few batsmen, Rahul, Kohli himself, Pandya, even Dhawan. So unless 3 or 4 batsmen contribute enough runs, you can't chase down 180, 190. And that's what happened with India. But for Matthew Wade, I think he's shown that he's in terrific touch. And, look, he's not just a T20 player. He's likely to be even in the Test series, in the Test squad. So he's sent out a reminder to the Indian team that they better watch out for him.
Australia also almost not looking as commanding, as scary. After the first 2 ODIs, you thought India were going to be in trouble for the rest of the tour. But Virat and team have really fought back well.
Yes, it's been a bit of a seesaw tussle between these two teams in white ball cricket. Australia winning the series easily and then losing the third match in the ODIs, and here India winning the series and losing the third match in the T20. So, which augurs well. Actually, I think we'll have a very competitive series going ahead in the Test matches, the 4 tests to be played. Let's not forget that in the ODIs, India missed somebody like a Rohit Sharma who was not there. In the T20s, Australia missed a few key fast bowlers. So both sides have been hit or by either injury or the absence of a few players. Also today, India didn't play Bumrah and Shami, so they were also resting some of their bowlers for the Test series. All in all, I think it just set up the foundation for what I think could be a thrilling contest going ahead. Certainly in the first match when Virat Kohli is there, and hopefully after he leaves, Rohit Sharma will be ready to take his place as an opening batsman in the test side. And India's batting depth will not be as adversely affected as one would imagine in Kohli's absence.
Okay, Hardik Pandya, we've talked about, how he's batted well. But just a word on how much he's evolved. You see him in these post-match press conferences. He's almost like a changed man. He's recently talked about how having a kid has, helped him grow a lot. So you can see a changed Pandya now?
Yes, he's a man full of surprises, isn't he? Pandya, as a cricketer, as a personality. I mean, he got into deep trouble, as we know, almost 2 years back for some television interview. And now you see him, talking in very profound manner. I think, he's only 26, 27 and, people make a lot of mistakes when they are young. I think the good part is that he's learning, I would say, without sounding pompous, life skills as he goes along, as much as he's learning cricketing skills or advancing his cricketing skills, because he's batted quite superbly in this series. And right from the IPL, we saw that, he's just been so much more in control of his own batting, what he brings, the value he brings. And I like the way he reads a game situation. He's a very astute cricketer. He understands when to unleash his strokes, when to bide his time for a bit and get settled down, understand the pitch, the bowlers, the conditions. So all in all, I think he's becoming a fantastic resource for India in all formats. Unfortunately, he's not there in the Test team because he's not been bowling. But I think as soon as he starts bowling, he'll be swung back into the squad immediately.
That's something I was going to ask you next time. I know I asked you in the last podcast as well about Pandya, India possibly asking Pandya to stay back as an option. But there's actually been a lot of talk about it as well, and he was asked about it after the last game, and he actually did point out that they are different formats, so it's a different ball game altogether. But do you see that happening? Just because also if they were to ask for replacements later, that whole 15-day quarantine could mess up with things. So why not just retain a couple of players who are already doing well, even though it's a different format?
I would think so. I've been advocating that Pandya and Natarajan be retained. Well, look ahead, and you could even consider somebody like a Shikhar Dhawan who's got loads of test match experience. And if you need an opener, because look, the risk is that that Rohit Sharma is going to, once he's cleared on December 11th, we'll know that once the NCA clears him. Even so, he might miss a couple of test matches. And after that, after the match we've got now, a warm-up match, December 11th to 13th, there's no warm-up matches. How does the team management consider Rohit Sharma as being match fit or not? Not just fit, but match fit without having seen him bat at all. So that's going to be an issue. And would you rather have a Pandya who's in terrific form, a Dhawan who's been in very good form and also has loads of experience, or not? And I think the answer to me is a no-brainer, but it's up to the selectors.
The first test, of course, starts on the 17th of December, and we will be back on day one with Ayaz. Thank you, Ayaz. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mendra. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you all for listening to the Aussie Challenge Podcast with Ayaz Memon on the Quint, powered by Farm Easy, India's largest online pharmacy, and MediBuddy.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.